Hello everyone, welcome to PHTV Channel 4 in Palos Heights. I'm Sue Jankowski. Welcome to our program, Meet with Moraine. In this monthly program, we talk about different people who work at Moraine Valley. They tell us what's happening, what's going on. They're usually heads of departments or they're head of something that you want to learn about. And today we're really honored to have Kevin Navatel. Kevin, welcome to the program today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very nice to have you. You know, I think really a lot of people at Moraine Valley, they must wear a lot of hats because they have really long titles there. So Kevin is the Assistant Professor of Political Science and Faculty Coordinator of the Democracy Commitment. And so just getting to know Kevin a little bit. Kevin, what got you over to Moraine Valley to start with?
So I was in the PhD program at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And I had learned about an opening at Moraine back in 2006, about the same time I was defending my dissertation proposal, and I was really excited to look into the opportunity. And once I visited the campus, I just fell in love with it. And I was really excited to teach political science, and so I started full-time back in the fall of 2006. And so this is my 12th year at Moraine Valley. It's gone by really fast.
Wow, okay. Yeah. So you've really been there there's been so many changes in this past decade. I'd say this is like phenomenally changing there. So, you know, you've enjoyed teaching political science there and you're glad you made that jump over to this area.
It's been great. In the 12 years that I've been at Moraine, the campus has grown significantly, so many new buildings. A lot of new technology to really assist us in the classroom, and I love that my focus is entirely on the classroom and teaching. I love connecting with students and helping them understand politics and what's going on with current events and how it relates to government. So it's been just a great opportunity for me.
And political science is so great because there's so many areas of debate and interest, and I bet that's kind of exciting and stimulating for your students.
It really is, you know, to help them understand the society and the government that they live in, to help them understand current issues that are going on in their lives and the world that they live in. And that's been great for me to try to understand those events and make them relevant and bring them into the classroom. I really try to you know, every day read the newspaper, watch the news, try to find new content to bring into the curriculum because, you know, the textbooks are updated every year, but it's always helpful if you can connect what's actually going on day to day with politics and current affairs and help the students understand that and kind of breathe life into the textbooks.
Right, and things do change so much, and we do have so much always going on, really, in the world. And with the world getting smaller and smaller, there's more to know just in the whole world events that are occurring. I think it would be really exciting, too, to work with, I mean, you're pretty young, but these kids are younger than you, so you're getting these younger people and helping them understand the world around them.
Yeah, I think it's been great to understand kind of in the 12 years that I've been there, the way that students have changed, the way that they approach politics has changed a little bit, their interest in politics, and just some of the major situations that have happened and with elections and global events and domestic events, and the way that they use technology different. There's just been so many changes to be able to juggle them all together.
Right.
But it keeps me fresh too, and trying to find new ways to connect to students and kind of meet them where they're at. So
I was going to say that too. I mean, it's so engaging for you because they're so curious about things, and that keeps you on, you know, your best game with teaching. It doesn't get stagnant, in other words.
Absolutely, it's a very dynamic job, and you know, every day you never know what's going to happen with current events, and you know, it's just a very exciting job to have because you don't know what you're going to be doing.
What's going to happen next?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Right. Good, awesome. Now, the second part, so you're doing political science, but the second part of this is the democracy commitment, which I don't know anything about. And I guess so we need to explain what is the democracy commitment. I mean, we are a democracy, and I feel committed to
Right.
that. But obviously, there's something more to this.
Sure, yeah, so the Democracy Commitment is a national initiative to bring community colleges together. And really their tagline is to make sure that our graduates have an education in democracy.
Oh.
And so it's really, as you said, a commitment to democracy, to fulfill the principles of democracy, to bring civic education on our campus, host events, infuse democratic principles into the curriculum. Honestly, it's really what colleges are already doing, community colleges in particular. However, this initiative is, with this national platform of bringing resources and bringing colleges together, has been, I want to say it started around 2011, and Moraine Valley was one of the founding members of the Democracy Commitment. I want to say at the time there was around 24 initial signees, and now we're up to 200 community colleges. So Moraine Valley has been a leader in this initiative. You know, roughly 10 to 15% of all community colleges have signed on to this democracy commitment, and we're one of them. So I'm very proud of that our college has dedicated the resources to this initiative. And you know, it's so much of what was already going on campus. Our faculty, our staff, our student clubs, in so many ways are already, you know, committed to democratic principles, and, you know, trying to organize events and trying to, you know, critical thinking, communication skills, leadership skills. These are civic skills in essence, and that's really what we're trying to promote. But with my particular position, so this is, I want to say that it started around 2012, 2013, where we on our campus created a specific coordinator position to try to allow a faculty member to have a part-time position to where they're responsible for promoting civic engagement, civic knowledge, events, infusing curriculum, working with faculty to infuse curriculum with civic engagement, civic knowledge. And so we had a coordinator for approximately 3 years, Tamara Coleman, and she did an excellent job. Unfortunately for our college, she moved on to California. And so I was fortunate enough this past semester, starting in January, to take on the position. So it's a part-time position where instead of teaching a class, I'm responsible for being the Democracy Commitment Coordinator on our campus.
I see. Now, so this is a lot of civics. Now, that used to be taught more in high school. And with schools having such heavy burdens with things they have to put in their curriculums, do you find that the students coming into college are less knowledgeable about what we would have done maybe in high school back a long time ago? And is that why this is more coming to the forefront?
Yeah, well, I think you're right, and that is one of the motivations. You know, research will show that as far as our political knowledge, our civic knowledge, there's definitely been a decline in that for younger generation. So that's one of the motivations. I think also if you look globally, and if you look at the United States in particular, we've according to various assessments, there was an Economist democracy index. The United States has slipped in its democracy rating. We've been downgraded to a flawed democracy. And this isn't necessarily anything recent. This has been a downward trend for some time, but we've increasingly polarized. We're increasingly lacking that civil dialogue. And so another motivation for our campus, and the reason why I think it's so important, is try to improve on kind of the foundations of our democracy, to try to enhance civil dialogue, being able to have conversations with people on issues that you may strongly disagree about, but try to understand their different perspectives, and sometimes know where you can agree to disagree, and improve, just as you were saying earlier, the civic education aspect of it, to just, you know, when is an election? Who are my candidates? What are some of the key issues going on in my community? Things along those lines.
Yeah, what do they do? Go and vote. This is important. Do you have a voice? Use it. Yeah, that seems great. Plus, I would think that, like any school, there's a lot of influx of new to the country, or not quite citizens yet, or on the path to being a citizen. And do you find that this helps them understand? Is that one of the purposes too, to kind of educate people who really aren't educated in any kind of democracy?
It's an aspect of it. We've actually hosted naturalization ceremonies on our campus. We have citizenship classes on our campus, and so. There are students who attend Moraine Valley who are in the process of becoming citizens, and the citizenship test is pretty difficult. In fact, there's a lot of native-born citizens who are unable to pass this test. You know, you know, by having this initiative, it does help promote that civic education throughout our campus curriculum.
Okay, so then you're promoting the democracy commitment, but you're doing that through, you go through the faculty and then they expand. Who kind of pushes this along in the community?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have an entire team, really, a committee, a democracy commitment committee that we started back in 2011. And we have a great leadership. We have a dean, Cynthia Anderson. We have Dr. Cynthia Anderson. We have Aurora Zwick, who are the kind of co-leaders of this committee. But, you know, honestly, even before 2011, we've had so many people who are committed to civic engagement. There's so many faculty in particular who are really active on campus and do service learning. I'm thinking of communications professor Mike McGuire, who really stands out. But, you know, I could name a lot of different people, but we've already been committed to this. This is just more of a process of formalizing it and trying to, I guess, promote faculty to encourage them to bring more civic engagement into their classes. And so, you know, my particular responsibility is working with faculty, but also working with students. We have really active student clubs on campus. We have the Roosevelt Institute and Political Activist Club. We have a Student Government Association. And again, there's so many that I could list that are really active on our campus. But sometimes working with them and just being a coordinator, a facilitator. I mean, the great thing about the democracy commitment isn't just one person. I'm certainly trying to bring resources, bring some leadership and drive to our campus efforts, but it's really beyond just one person.
So some of these organizations, clubs, and so forth that are at school that the students can get involved in, they are directly part of the democracy commitment program, or they're influenced by it? Does someone come in and kind of educate each group, or how does that kind of work?
Yeah, so it isn't, I would say, a formal allegiance, so to speak, with the democracy commitment. The democracy commitment is more of, you know, if you are interested in working with the democracy commitment, you can come and to the committee. The committee oftentimes reaches out to different people on campus and tries to work with them individually. Also, you know, hosting events. So, for example, this past semester we started a democracy hour where every Monday we have a current event that we highlight and have a theme and bring people together to be able to talk about current events. For example, this last week we were talking about budget deficits and national debt. This coming Monday we're going to be talking about what is fake news and what we can do about it and how we can improve information literacy. So there's events like that. In the fall, I know we're having State Senator Bill Cunningham come to our campus on September 25th. So there's events, you know, that we host, and then, you know, just collaboration with student clubs, for example, where we co-coordinate events on campus. We had events this past semester on the primary, highlighting the Illinois primary candidates and you know, information resources for voters. So it's oftentimes in collaboration. There's people who have an idea and then they reach out to the democracy commitment and myself, try to improve marketing, try to, you know, reach out to faculty to let them know about it, to promote it in their classes. So it's a really collaborative effort.
With these events, do you they're held, well, some of them are held weekly. And is that in conjunction with a class like one of your classes, or is it just an independent event? You can just go to it. And is it for just the students, or the community can come?
It's for the entire community. The idea with our events is that it's open to anybody. So, for example, the Democracy Hour that we currently have on Mondays for the final 2 Mondays of the semester. It's on Mondays from 12 to 1 in D116. And as I mentioned, the next Monday it's going to be on fake news, and then on the following Monday it's going to be on the opioid crisis and the overdoses that we've had really a significant problem in the United States with. And Professor Don DeGangi is going to be leading that in 2 weeks from now. And the other events we have are always open to community members, but what we try to do is make campus-wide announcements. We have our marketing team is great on campus, and they get out the word in various ways. And it's open to students, it's open to staff, it's open to faculty. We like to reach out to faculty who we think that a particular event might be a good fit for, and let them know. Sometimes they bring their class, sometimes they offer it for extra credit. We've had several staff members who just might be interested in a particular issue, and so they come. And so it's been a really diverse group of people, which is really what we want, to bring people from different backgrounds and experience levels and interest levels and perspectives together to be able to talk about what's going on. So it's been a great process so far, but we look to build it in the fall. We're going to have Democracy Hour again. We're going to have other events, and of course, as always, our student clubs are organizing events as well related to the democracy commitment.
That almost sounds like it just sounds really great, like an open forum I'm picturing, where you can ask the question or get the information, where you might not have that in a class, but a topic that maybe really, really is interesting to you, like fake news or the opioids. That's really something you want to know more about. So I would think that that is a great thing for students to get involved in, plus a little extra credit doesn't hurt anything. It gets people there. But are you finding that this is something that the students are really interested in? Yeah,
well, they are, and I would say that it provides an open environment for them to ask questions. Politics is very overwhelming. A lot of these issues are complicated. We also know that they're very polarizing. Students come in with different interests with some of these issues. Sometimes they're more knowledgeable than others. And the spirit behind the Democracy Hour is that it's an open and safe space to ask questions, and to kind of get the basic understanding of what's going on with this topic. We've had discussions on gun rights and gun control. We've had discussions on the First Amendment with freedom of religion, but how that might come into contrast with the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law, with the rights of same-sex couples. These forums have been an open space for people to ask questions and kind of understand the trade-offs with some of these issues in a non-judgmental way, in a non-partisan way. There isn't, we're not trying to say that there's a particular right answer, or that one party is correct on this, but trying to lay out the issues in a very objective way as much as possible, and let people know all the different interests that are related to that topic.
I really think it's so important that part of what you're doing is encouraging whoever attends that everyone is entitled to their thoughts and opinions, and maybe we could do that without so much anger, and let that person speak, and then have someone else be able to speak and say. It just seems like right now in this country there's no tolerance of other opinions, so that's a good thing. They need to know that it's okay if this person doesn't think the same as you.
Yeah, for my own personal motivations, that really important to me. I think if you look at our national climate, there really is that lack of civility, and it might just be our single biggest problem facing our country, you know. And so even on a really small level, we have this opportunity where we can freely discuss our views, ask questions without being judged. And I have to say, I've been really impressed with the spirit of our dialogue. Everybody has been very thoughtful, listening to different ideas. There's, you know, obviously been some strong opinions. These are really weighty issues, you know, that we're dealing with, and so I've been really happy with the quality of our discussions, and I'd like to see more people attend. We've had, you know, it depends upon the week, anywhere approximately 20. You know, sometimes there's been less than that, but we're growing, and there's interest, and you know, it's just one spoke of the wheel, if you will, of what we're doing in our campus efforts. But it's one that I think is really important, and I just hope on a national level we can continue that.
That sounds great, and it sounds like it's kind of snowballing. If it started with 12 schools, and now you've got 200,
exactly.
And I'm not sure how many community colleges there are across the country, but it's not unlimited. So you know, I would think. Now, I don't know if this then extends to like four-year universities, if they have that kind of thing.
So this wasn't initially created, the American Democracy Project. It was started by public universities. So it's a much more extensive, that's kind of the parent organization, if you will. And to your point, you know, it's grown from 24 roughly to 200, and we have about 1,500 community colleges. So we do have a national conference where it brings these signees of the democracy commitment together. It's held every June. This year it's going to be in Ontario, California, and I've attended this conference in the past, and it's just overwhelming with the amount of resources, speakers, and what we have an opportunity to do is learn what's going on in other campuses, what they're doing, you know, and so you can kind of learn best practices from each other. I know back in 2011 when I attended the national conference, one of the things that came out of that is a regional conference. And we now have, I want to say, 6 community colleges in Illinois that are a signee of the democracy commitment. And you know, I want to say back in 2012 we had a regional conference that brought these colleges together, including some outside the state of Illinois. To learn, you know, what are some of the opportunities that we have, what are some of the challenges that we have of trying to grow this effort and, you know, keep the momentum going. That's
great. That sounds really great. Challenges of the Democracy Committee?
Well, you know, there's several. And one, just tying back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, politics is very polarizing. And I do think that there's just that kind of old framework of, you know, religion and politics. You shouldn't talk about it. And, you know, especially at the workplace or in school and in these situations with other people who could judge you, and you don't want to offend anybody. So, you know, those are challenges where cynicism, you know, sometimes people are just like, politics, that's for other people, or what difference can I make? You know, there's too many negative trends associated with government and politics, and I'd rather not have any part of that. I think another challenge is on our campus at Moraine Valley, we've just got so many great initiatives going on. There's so many cool things, so many events, you know, One Book, One College, you know, so many different faculty who are really busy with their own commitments, what they're doing with their own classes. The Honors College is doing really great work, and so it's really sometimes a challenge to get new faculty members to take some time and incorporate what we're doing with the democracy commitment, just because there's, you know, so many things going on our campus. So that's another challenge.
That would be a challenge, and people do get busy. They do have their own classes, they have their own outside commitments, and that does make it challenging. But this just sounds like really great. Particularly, I mean, I know it's been in the works for a while, but boy, we sure need this right now. Of any time, this is really important, and I hope it flourishes for you.
Well, thank you very much, and you know, I'm glad to have the opportunity to have talked about the democracy commitment, and I couldn't agree more. You know, it's a difficult climate right now, but it's something that's been growing for years too.
It is,
and it's one that we don't want to see continue.
No.
And so, any effort to try to enhance civic education and civil dialogue is, I think, one that should be encouraged. And I'm really glad that our college does that.
I am too. And you start small, and look, it's branching out already, and it's an offshoot from those 4 universities, and it sounds like there's a lot of other community colleges that are making that kind of commitment too, so it's great. Kevin, we wish you the best with getting those that message out and continuing this great work you're doing, and with your teaching too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, thanks for watching us today. It's always amazing what goes on at Moraine Valley Community College. There's just so much, and I am just amazed every time we get together, every month, about what's happening there. I hope you go check it out over there. Sometimes just go walk around. I always encourage you to do that. And of course, take a class, or there's just, it's just not just classes, there's just events, programs, and so forth for you to take advantage of. It's just right around the corner. So thanks for watching us. We'll see you next time on Meet with Moraine. Bye-bye.